Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and continue. Okay, I'm going to go back to the bloom right here that we have. So here, if you were to look at the Western perspective of the bloom taxonomy at the bottom, that would be knowledge. Although we translated that to Behosendo Yahosendo. And then the next step we have is comprehension. The next one is application. Analysis. So as we go up, and when you compare it with the Western perspective, it goes all the way to the top to evaluation. So what we did was we sat there, we talked about what each component will take place in each of them. So from the bottom up would be the first one, which is knowledge. We have arrange, and we just translate those. That's what we did: define, duplicate, label, list. So those are some of the things that we, as teachers, we input that into our lessons as we're writing. We say, okay, what is our objective for the day? And that's where how we use the bloom sometimes. And that's what we did. So we translated the bloom, the Western perspective blooms into a Navajo. We call it the Navajo bloom. So that's what we have. Next, we have the comprehension. And then we move on to the application. And then we have the analysis. And then the synthesis and the evaluation. So it all came on all daily, and it was a lot of work putting these together. And I always say that I give credit to the people that I work with at that time. And we still communicate on and off, and good thing to Zoom and Messenger, Facebook. We always go back and we communicate. So the next one we have is the stages of development. As we educators, we know that we have the stages of development that we always how the child grows up from birth all the way into adult, and 88 the stages of development. We also talked about this, and we developed this kind of this chart that we said we're going to go by, and this is what we went by developing our curriculum. So most of the curriculums that we did, the different topics that we did, this was kind of like our backbone. That's what we did with this. Let's see if I can enlarge it. Can you see it? Yeah. Right here in the yellow area, it says the Ntaha case, the Navajo concepts. And then we start from the bottom down here. Hanit Hazli, that's when one becomes aware. That one we're looking at the age stage. We call that stage 1, age 2 to 4. And that's more in the pre-kindergarten, kindergarten area. That's in their area. And then as we go up, one becomes aware of themselves, which is age 4 to 6. That's level 2 and 3. That is kindergarten in that area. One begins to think and do things on their own, which is ages 6 to 9, level 3, 4, 5, and 6, which would be first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. So all the way into 12th grade, because at that time, we had to think about the whole school, not just the elementary. We had to think about, we had pre-K and we had FACE. So we had to think about from the bottom all the way to 12th grade. So that's how we put our curriculum together. And this is kind of what our curriculum, you see the mainstream and the backbone of the whole curriculum is. So as I go on, you'll probably see how we broke these components into the curriculum framework. Here's our curriculum framework right here. Whoa. Let's see if we can make this bigger again. Okay, we have our Navajo concept here. Here we'll have our subtopics. And then that first stage here, stage 1, that'll be right in this area. And then the stage 2 will be here. And then it just keeps going on and how we finish it. So when I take you back, that's what I mean. I have to go back and forth because my PowerPoint was very limited to give me those areas. So here you see that we have stage 1, stage 2. These are just the blank templates that we used and that we created. So here would be stage 3. We have first grade, second, third, and fourth grade. And next we have the stage 4, 5th, 6th. And then we have 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And then next we have stage 5 and 6, which is 10th grade, 11th, and 12th grade. That's how we set up our template for our framework for our curriculum. So that's what we did. Go back over here. Anybody have any question on the templates before I move on? I noticed that Windarot uses the same, this whole, I guess, the diagram that we have here. I noticed Windarot started using that, so I've seen it over there in Windarot. So which is good, it's being used out there. So, and the other thing that we had to come across was the immersion teachers, the culture teachers, and it's still like that. Some schools out there, like the community schools, they have to teach their Navajo culture and their Navajo classes, and even the high school, they're told that they have to use the Navajo standards that is out there from Doty. So we had to really think about how are we going to use that Navajo standard. So the next thing we did was we laid out the Navajo standards and we said, okay, how are we going to use this? What are we going to do? How are we going to set it up? Now we have the template, we have the framework for our curriculum. How are we going to input that in here? No, we started thinking, and we started thinking about seasonal, like things that happen in the fall, things that happen in the winter, spring, and so on. And that's where the subtopics are going to go. And then there's so much curriculum that we worked on, and we have a framework for each one of them. And I'm going to show you one of the curriculum that we worked on. The one that we worked on was clans. That's what we worked on. So let me show you this one. So here's our concept. Our concept was clans, and it was that's how we translate it, which is we all know. So we looked at the origin. That was the first component there, the subtopic. Next, they'll know their clans, and then the next would be kinship. That was the third step. So that's how we set it up. That was our subtopic. So we have the origin. So here in stage 1, we have clans, and we have these areas right here where we put adon adoyash chiniki naliniki non sosika ni don. So they'll identify their first two clans as they go up into their grade level. It will go up. It starts getting what do we call it today? We call it rigor. It goes up. So it's like they're not at the same place. They're building upon what they already learned, and they're building upon. That's what they're doing. So this is an example of the clan that we have. So when we say origin, we're talking about Adona and Leniki Hada clans has Leiki. That's what it's talking about. And let me show you. This is just just one slide of that area. Let me go to the whole slide right here. Okay, this is kindergarten here. That's what it talks about, origin right here in the kindergarten area. And as we look at the first grade, the fourth grade, then it talks about right here, changing woman is going to bring in that topic of changing woman around fourth grade. It's going to talk about that. And then as the grade goes up, we have fifth grade, sixth grade, and then it goes into Kia'ani and how the clans were originated, and then how the kings came to be, what their sacred kings were, their stones, their animals that were given to them, and what each clan represent. So to where each one of them will go up. So it just depends on what level you're teaching and what grade you're teaching. So that's where you'll start. So that's how we set these, the framework sets up. And then we have the clans here, and we have the kinship, and then we have the self-identity here. So we set it up in those terms. So any questions on the clans? Let me go to high school. This is high school. Here they said that we will go ahead and have them identify themselves and also know a song or a prayer by the time they're at that age. So that's what we said there. And then the self-identity, they're able to practice, they're able to know the roles of being a mother, father, growing to be an adult, and how to be who they are at that age. So things like that, that's what we had to really talk about. And here we have a diagram on the clans, how we see clans. There's the different areas. We have the immediate family, and then it just spills out. So these are just some of the things that we added on that helps our staff and that helped our teachers, how we set up this framework for them. And then this one is just how the cycle is to be. You come as a child, and then Sani, Asadosti, and then Hastui, Masana comes back to that. So we have that diagram there for them. So there was a lot to talk about, put on the table for us to talk about, and we even came across to clans where it was really hard. It just depends on where you're at, like Rock Point, Rough Rock, Pinion, Window Rock, Ship Rock. It just depends, because when you look at the clan system, we always say that our clan's not on there. Our clan's supposed to be with this group. No, we're not with that group. We're on this side, the Nila, and that's always hard to pick where our clans go. And like for me, I always say that Kia'ani is not related to anybody. And we find our clan with another group, and we always came across that problem, and we said, how do we fix that? So what we came upon on that is that it just depends on where you're teaching and what the community knows how the clans go. It's always good to bring in the community to help you if you get stuck, because a lot of this curriculum that we've been working on, we go out and we ask the community, okay, how is it here? How do you guys do things here? So we always used to ask, and we would invite them as a guest speaker. We would let them talk to us, and we ask questions. So we did a lot of those things. And we even invited medicine men from different areas, and they talked to us, and we invited some herbalists. They took us up the mountain, this mountain here, and then the mountain on that side. So we did a lot of those. We talked about plants and how they're used, and just a lot of things like that. It's good to have a committee where everybody gets involved and is there for a purpose. I think communication and working together, collaboration, that's all it takes to make that curriculum work. Because if you're by yourself, it's not going to work by itself. So you always have a question when you're doing something. And you can't just say, okay, I'll write it this way. But there's always going to be a person that's going to come and say, and yeah, we'll get that. And that's why it's always good to bring people together and work together. So like I always say, I'm glad that I got to work with these people that I'm thankful for all the time. So as we did our curriculum, we came with all these frameworks and all these information, all these sites that we came up with. So far, we have finished these Navajo concepts. These are the ones we have finished, the one in the purple area. And we did a curriculum for clothing, plants, stars, wild animals and domestic animal, food, money, creation stories, shelter, games, geography, government, transportation, taboos, what not to do. So we did a lot of those. And these white areas, again, we're still working on some of those. They're just on hold on some of them. We're still working on those. So we do that a lot, and I wished, and a lot of these people that I work with, some retired, but I see them here and there, and so that's what my curriculum is about, is all these different concepts that we put it into a framework. And this is where the Navajo Standard comes in. So the Navajo Standard talks about, there's all those components. There's government, there's characteristics, all those 5 components. So in there, you would place these curriculum in those different areas. That's what you would do, and how you would set it up by seasonal. So with that, let's see. No, it's the same one. So here, this is a framework, just a real quick pacing guide. So this would be first quarter, just an overlook. This is kindergarten. You see right here is the Navajo standards listed. I have the PO numbers. These are my concepts right here. I start off with K, and then we go into personal hygiene, geography. And then we go into home, sacred mountains, transportation, planting, harvesting. That would be all first quarter. And then we have second quarter, food, traditional food, clothing, and so on. So that's how we set it up. So each of the staff that were there, the immersion, the culture teacher, they took that, what the concepts that we made, the framework that we did, they went and implemented that into their own pacing guides. So that's how we made it easier for them to work out their curriculum. So it's been a while for me ever since I left Rough Rock. So I'm hoping that if I go back, if I was to visit, I'm hoping they still have this. So that's what we did out there. And then fourth quarter here. So that's how our pacing guide was set up throughout the time, the year for the kids. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of steps, it takes a lot of time thinking. And these are the people that I like to acknowledge as my reference. Oops, what happened? Do I go back? Okay. Okay, these are the people that I work with, which are my Navajo curriculum team, my immersion teachers, my TAs that wanted to be part of the team. We did not say, oh, you're not with immersion, you're not a culture teacher, you can't be part of it. We just opened the door, and whoever wanted to be a part of that curriculum, they took part. So we met like once a week. We met on weekends sometimes, and then we worked through the summer. So we did a lot of this, and that's how this came to be. And then at that time, we worked with Shajah Florian Johnson. He was our curriculum director. So he kind of just told us, this is what you guys need to work on. This is what you guys need to do. Here's the money. Think about how you're going to set it up. So we did a lot of that under his supervision. And we also like to acknowledge the medicine men that we work with, the herbalists and the guest speakers and the community members of Rough Rock. So that's how it came to be. And then Monty Russell was our director at that time. So he was a lot of help, just like how today somebody said that he was always there. He's always here, was here for you guys for funding and stuff like that. I think he was like that for Rough Rock. He was always there for Navajo language and culture. And then the co-founders of Rough Rock School. So that's what my presentation is about today. And I hope you kind of understood how curriculum works from the beginning and to end, that it always has to do with collaboration, teamwork, and all that time and putting your effort into it. So, but as far as the school, our curriculum, it didn't get published. So there is some of these out there, but we were going to publish it, but at that time we didn't publish it. So we have a printing press there. So hopefully one of these days we get to publish it. So I can take some questions now if you guys have any questions. Questions? Nobody? Yes.
Hi, I'm a new Navajo teacher, and I work in an elementary school, and I'm starting things from ground zero, and I have other Navajo teachers in the building, but for some reason they won't share anything with me, so I'm starting from ground zero, and half of the time I'm like, I know why we say we want our kids to learn our Navajo language, but then us as teachers ourselves and us as we're so I guess stingy with our stuff, like we don't want to share, and that's what I'm experiencing in the school that I'm in, and it's really hard that I'm trying to build my class and try to develop, where am I going with this and where do I start, and that's kind of where I'm at, and it's a struggle, and it's really frustrating, and sometimes I feel like I just want to give up and forget it and just go to general ed because the curriculum's already there.
That is true. That is true. I know the frustration with being a Navajo immersion teacher or a culture teacher is we always have limited resources. And most of the time, what are we doing? We're making our own right to meet our kids. And I always say that even now, I'm teaching regular third grade. When I get home or even on the weekends, I'll be making something. And see, that's the thing. We need to sell our stuff. We need to give it out. We need to put it out there. So we need a lot of that. I agree with you on that.
Even our Navajo language standards with Dodi, I think some schools don't really, they don't want to just really go with Dodi standards. They still want the Arizona state standards as well. And I think that just complicates it even more for us. It would be nice if we could just follow the Navajo language, I mean, the Dodi standards. But a lot of schools, they want it together, and it just kind of like doubles the work for us as well, too.
That's true. That's probably because of funding. And I know public schools, I don't know what their limit on their daily Navajo language and culture is, and I think Mainella would answer that. But for community schools, I know they go, like, for example, look, Educate, that's where I'm at. So we have a whole hour that my class goes to Navajo culture every single day for an hour. So we get that for our kids, and we hear them talking, we hear them speaking it. So it's all different. Community schools different, public schools different. So I think the minimum requirement from Dodi is 45 minutes a day, right, Chanela? The Navajo language and culture, the speaking, the language from Dodi, 45 minutes a day. And then public schools, they're different. They see that as a little. Okay. Set it up. Mm-hmm.
In order for them to meet all those classes, they have to divide up the time. That's a time constraint. That's one of the biggest problems in trying to get our language and our culture out there to our kids. And I won't get into it too much until later. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was picking on my Chanela because she's coming from a public school. And that's the thing that where some schools, they treat it as an elective. But for our school, I know we separate it. So we have our electives separate, and then we have our culture separate. So every day they go to Navajo culture for an hour. On top of that, they go to their specialty. So yeah, it's all different.
Yate, I just want to say thank you. And this is something wonderful that has happened in Rough Rock. And so one of the individuals that was the other key component or individual that helped getting the K-12 curriculum for Diné back in 2016 was Jeannie Lewis. And of course, there's always turnovers of staff. So you redefine, modify, and that's one of the hardest, I think, crossing over from BIE to grant school to public schools. So the very little that you may have material-wise and whatever that was basically you were trained with, and you still have some information. That's what you hold, and you then begin to share and take an approach for that with that particular community, because not all schools are the same. We're not all on the same page. Our learners, they vary. And when we look at the age, even the age category, we're looking at maybe 10 years ago, our students were different. 20 years ago, our learners were different. So then we have to kind of modify. And I'm coming from the high school as far as teaching, and I try my best to emphasize the time that I have them in my classroom. And it's a lot of redirection of self-identity. And so I just want to say thank you. And with the work of the individuals that had put this together, I know it wasn't easy. Someone guided them, and the school had basically funded. So with that, I'm just saying that it's basically for every Navajo child. Right now, that's our main goal, is to advocate sincerely that we're saying this for saving the language. For that sake, in that manner. I'm at a retiring age, and I just want to say and leave a message that you need to continue to continue to emphasize and advocate. So we will get our children speaking their language once again. So yeah.
Thank you.
Behind you.
Hailanana hananatzi. Okay.
Ja, kwasanaske kwahonosoniki she yati retire ishlago the for the Chinese school. I taught Navajo language and culture for 38 years. Aro kat yat ohwate oskitasasa. Aro lere ani hote bente no tinsi teno. Ahwe developed that cut and paste. Ahota ade bania. Aro computer das lido she lanizi. Ede bata initlo holji. Aro na holji she ade. Njonoko ya na sosen leni na halke yon neso ade curriculum Title 7 olgedo federal program da biyado na sos hata hasot na sosane teke ko actually school yen antin curriculum da hasni do tishide ko bi da hallo ahot be na do I know what you're going through, so I went through the hardship myself. I don't cut and paste the computer, a computer then. Out of the book or magazine, like for instance, animal I had to cut it out for the kids to emphasize the location Hodat at the snow the Shiba Yashkin le fishta. They nanishkin alchinier, they hot a holji. I had to cut and paste. So hot de a hoto sato ishibujish to benajintinse. Nasa net ashine had that Johnson in Hansas case. Aroko at nantin, then you quay I do by henson audition. A call John one of the so tanigi not tinda no snido don't hit alta shin das only not alta or chinier in hit a house
you have to understand that their basic needs are the hola. Le ahyanij. She K to H nanatan nanshkino. A call ani yonantla. Though you don't sit with the same group every day. Le are the whole week, Holiana Hoja, Adin le 8th grade Zat, Holiana Jah, a week not leo. A call hot Ashin, like that eating, like you get that eating. A call and it's a sit down hot abin as and cannot ahwas, and it that daughter I don't let you horse. Aro itan na tata senior. So ladies at that nishan ya up and Mrs. Jones nation is not she should let you did. Oh, she's still the snow. Shan nation should know how she. The snow hammer namely the West no I don't that. Hajo introduces Delia and when I was seen the car. I thought that she hasn't let that car. أخوات نيلات أيضا جوان لي حصلان كده أتشني أتاني مس جوني شنت نوت هاشي شيشت نوت introduce to you where أني هدو باجيان نتو باجل نيتال إبا هتوتا نو كون تتا كيجنو أخد إلا هت أبي جوكا لان لسو ناس تساني جليكو أخد إلا أخد أيد أنا تين لنكي أهوي جاي Itas and Shindagat at the Ola Ato Benanitin. Shmayaja, Janita, you're never too old to learn. Go back to school, should you know that? Should I not just Mrs. Russell? I hope should you need that. Eshmayajit and the Ado de Monte Eshiaj and Ceciliajit and the Hota Nahachan, the Hano, the Yata. Quail has angi hatana katukuna hada she kohad what the huns at ilu. A coba he needs no. Out and there hotan hit no. In Chachin, then the Bamasani hotashin, Mrs. Russell. You know, be something else. Archie not honestly the hot, not the ochit, the hobby has in there. So to this day, teaching is still wise in her. Whatever she abstract, there, there's other concept at it. What I want to go here and so the shadow just to address myself and who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, Shumayaja. Halane Balta Danosenigi. Oh, yeah, Bansis case. Ashes is either dobe, the dances case a quani or that. It's a deed. Nihi all Ildon his ad, but not Tinigi, I see but the hoye Halanant. Quagiba at a left at all nitigi, nant. Dobet the hoye, dobe yahoye, dobet hoye. Aron da quae at adol nildo in the at chinna quae beyond dot nilo babe natchabin don nishigi. Hey da haka ol ye la na. Quaegi yehos senigi yeho inigi don da Sato ye igahan lido gi beton ye. We need our administrators to step up to push these things that are important, to see a much deeper than just standards and just, outcomes and indicators. And we need them to see deeper into the actual footwork, what actually needs to be done. Aronda nahat atzil wal yahegi, to have these critical conversations with their staff. Joden nebelna anishte ninant ado beninani hollo shi isto. People will not really share their content because the main reason is because what I created is probably for those students at that time, in that time frame, within that theme. That's the dynamic curriculum. Islinigi ya ahot ahilne. Eko ajanshi la ajan jono ke nin lo flashcards about ashlado. Atro games about ashlado e hot ada dashlande e ado. If I share that, just parts of it are going to be relevant. Yeah, it's because it's not a standardized practice. That's what our administrators sometimes may not understand because of the colonized infrastructure within our institutions. The colonizer mindset has to do with standardization, one size fits all. And they expect this, one thing to apply to all the students all at once, and that they think, we train the teachers, we want them to teach the content, we want them to be effective, here's best practices, here's another conference, go over there. Does that work? Does that work? What is it that our administrators need? What's that information that they need to understand that these standardized approaches are not effective? They are not effective for our children. Our these veteran teachers, they know that the students that come through their doors are all dynamic beings. They are all distinct individuals that come into your classroom with unique abilities, unique intelligence. We anhinde ahot ek atidijin hilyahaoya. You are all teachers and you are all learners in your own hashit anhin se keseladon hinan hinselado hashit anasle. Don da yahab, the experience that you come by do hat ishin hil illigo nasledo hashit anaslehegi eben nashet hinan hinsela. So there is an inherent understanding that we are walking curriculum. We are walking curricula. You come with already that curricular framework in your being. I don't. So when you go into this institutional space where there are government mandates, where there is funding that needs to be used, where there are certain structures that we have this checklist that we have to follow. How do we please them? Case. That is our colonized mindset at work when we think like that. We need to flip it. We need to think, how is this going to work for us? Nihisha, nihizad, hashit ae hajo bitolyesh, hashit ae hajo be ates is go bendit no teeth. How do we empower our administrators to speak for us? How do we empower our educators to have that diligent practice, that persistence, and having 100, 200 students come walking through your door every day? That's hard. And how is this standardized approach going to be effective if it's just a tiny little portion per day? And then beyond that, it's like, I'm only speaking Navajo in this classroom. Once I leave, I'm back to English. That's the mentality. And that needs to be wiped clean from every institution. Our students need to know Nihizadigi, Nihil Ati Bedenil Ezot Ati Hajo Naha ben da entiendo need zin. Da need zin. Adon da yahab illegal ultrabi nazlado lech that it is valued the way that it needs to be valued within the institution, that it should be the language of choice, it should be the language of instruction, and those who are non-indigenous, non-Diné speakers, they need to learn the language too. Just going in and maybe taking Navajo 101, 102, that at least to get a taste for the language, to get a taste of the culture, to get a taste and the smell and the scent and the feel of the language. Hashit al nal nish nihizadigi, hashit al in nal nish, aro hashit al in seh. Hashit al be a yaho hashit al ben hinsa case zil. Hashit al ebe haini nido lech. Jodi al ton halchina banitzen. That's what every institution is for. To grow independence in our children. So hada da late apik and the dado lech. Hada da late ma jet as a ligo quet up dobet. Do beslachat no ba alchini yahos ahta dolech. Jo kwaen hizadigi na antin alchens lahagi hojojik anotil inda na yek anotil do benda antin dan le alchens lahagi khait be holzele has jo dat hagi bi salago. That's what we need. And when we have state people coming and taking over our schools and just, using their hierarchy models, using their assimilationist models to pressure their agenda over what needs to be there, it doesn't work for our kids. That's the reason why our kids don't speak their language anymore. And so to this day, we need to decolonize that thinking and say, this needs to change. There's a switch, there's a hinge somewhere. So when the proclamation got passed with the Navajo as an official language of this land, we have a lot of work to do. And we have a lot of thinking to do. It's like, what my auntie's saying, the questions that we have, some of the difficulties that arise, and we share some of those difficulties and barriers. I might get in trouble in my job, I might get fired. I am sharing this, but we are reluctant to share because it's not a safe space for us to express freely, for us to be free in who we are. That is neo-colonialism. It's just another form of colonization. It's still everywhere. I am very passionate about this whole thing. That's the reason why I'm standing here. So I'm sorry about I don't know if my voice is too much, but it gives us hope that that's there. We hope to see that, we want to see that, see the light of day, so we can use it in our classrooms. Big echo, they objectives at the hat, Nenishi ada neck etcheta, but not your bed, need teeth doles. Yeah. Okay, let's take a short break, and I have some door prizes. There's more tea out there. And I know the people online really wanted the Zoom link, but I just want to explain that it's really hard to coordinate the Zoom link plus the live stream, which is Facebook and also YouTube. So, those of you who are trying to access today. So, thank you. Let's take a 5-minute breather. So these are the first door prize winners: Jeanette Cohey, and Chris Jones, and Kristen Pablo. So we had no choice but to eat both of them. Michelle West, and Ellen Judy, and Joni Thompson. So come grab a prize bag, and then we're going to bring in some more after. So we'll have round 2. Keep going here. Ada? Those are donated by my mom. She went out of her way to help out in that way. Yeah, Shema. Yeah. Hadina, go. We'll draw 6 more names and just keep going like that. So our next presenter is Justina Jones, and we'll get her set up. Justina is she been here to or you want to okay to stand? Oh, okay. All right. Check first. Okay. Oh, yeah. Ah, awesome. Yeah, it is. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Put the chair there a long time ago. So, if, okay. Okay, Biga. Okay. All righty. Okay, ashi nasna holjistolech. Just feel free to move about. There's coffee, tea, and some cookies. Those Girl Scout cookies are really good. Glad there was a young lady that was selling them this past week. She called the cookies. It's got this boss, and I just admire that when young people are taught to learn through financial literacy while they're young. All righty, cool.
Got a Ashwaditsa. Okay, closer, Jenna. Got a Atlanta Ado Big Agent. Shay, Miss Jones, Yunisha. Justina Jones, Yunisha. Tenakana, Holieda, Yisanasha. Kia Ani, Nishle. Tatnasani Bushes Chin, but Ani Dasha Che Do, she a Dashanella. Aro and the Baltra, Nishle. Alchiniaje, that's a sigin da Tagi. Kindergarten though, first grade, Lenigi a Shadaltra. Aro the neck etche, Nantkin. Nenigi a be Nunchtkin, be Beshik Esche. Lay public school. A just hot Ashaltra, back about Hodzan Holiade. A ko Bayatki Egid, public school be a chinin Nantkin go hot odd neck etche. A Yonantla, God Ela. Aronda a Baltra Betnash Nishigi, Betndash Nishigi, Ado hot Ado hot anan, that notkin, hot no, hot that nigo, Jo hot a she a gis a hit nithle her job description. A gis D a bini, yeah. Nan nishto na altra hot that no. A call no what da a o ani yahago a Navajo language, Navajo culture a nantin lago adania. A call Navajo language a shaltra go hahoji. The nebazad ben nantin aronda Waltra donazo. Edo befeki sala nantino. Nanstino eka hoji. Kindergarten only 6th grade. Aj daltagi. Ako it was just one of the specialty classes. Ako a ahitne. Other kui daljan a nantino. Aron da a once a week a shitya najaho. A kodo a la but ando iho ahda. A yonantla. Benajan niki, benajan tke. The following week hotya nana taho. Benaj kiddo. Then do bedel jata. A call yo a not aslagi najantin nahalin. Aslahi ba nahajit ne do aslai najantin orchene. do ha hik that di ting do do hande di lego ayonan lagot ela aron da ultra has anigi banda nashigi jo digi large yes zindo Tlatoya hakes zingo hot egot ya Tlatonil Aron da hot egot ya Alchiniajan lenigi bedolja di Nikizad benaltinigido Nikizad yenahot ahagi Oko kwagi o hot abaka Ishla teaching the net language in the early childhood. Early childhood gi age on that hada iltado ahilne. That's a sigi. Ako gi betnashnish. Allah danache I'll say they set Asia Ultra second and third grade hot immersion class. Nezna that's anache benanchtkino. Community school, BIE school. Ako the neg etche nantinigi niche na hansela. Do aniche hashid benat naltinigi hashid oslahegi hot dotlin. Dan hit don't need idan ako. K first a connect those like baltra. Aron the second, third ish. Aro fourth, fifth. Could archin el K the neck at you get the house ato a bit K hot I kaho. Ein hada altra. Aron the Niche Tranit a skine kato hot on the hoit aron the shilnish. Quite Miss Jones. Chris Jones, yeah, hold nagi, Asia Deja, ako, AK first, Ajabal, the curriculum, the na, hot, Alkita si, no, big how hot on that nitin, that, ako, I see, we bits ando, elchene, hot ando, bits ando, alchene di saten lenigi neidilla aro benaltinigi hot yilsando hot danil in da kuyne te neznana khay aje shaltra ako idan hot yilsank at immersion program ninde do hojo she that's a hot case in the la hashin case in the got such as net the additionally get we actually as but height height do height nihizadigi needed all late the need needs to know hot by ya deal to go big how hot curriculum isnenigi hot litasi nel around the do o litasi nel lo benda nitkinda nil indo khagi ben not on the sto khagi la honat on that no it was an ongoing process. Quishin nail car by hine kato, but hilton da hoil na a daily ida a co. Ebik elchine, Junugo sad. Yik at that litra, kindergarten only fifth grade, a yes kaigo. A yo ya that ye. That was neat. A co. Qad adilchene hodat bin khada iltra ne hade da toilseho the neck etche nikje ya daltke I don't know the neck etche ape ata dahal now da yita hol angi shin I see na jonago yohol la Johnson la aron da ya hat elchene ik it dot hin jonan zina di kwa be ben da nil tin do kwa shin di ba ki kaigi jo hait ya I see a deathne hait ya go hait an tin go it's going to be effective jo ditne aron da kwa bayatke the nebazadigi it was the proclamation was passed about 2 months ago or back in November. A president Linigi Hakono yen Hitholna Le Tagahotzanege a Pasiliado Kot Anoko a big echo a Yahit Ausha a the Nebazad and Linigi Dean Harchinek at Disjin and Noseligi Hit Al Bandi Liel Hit I Yinahuidol Ah Jo Winson Quashing is this kid though. Be a benad the kid though a big how a hit wheel net hate sha a niche hate on hit ahosen hate ego a plato be a cat di loth jo a she you see quite benan hit the kid around quite additionally the queen hit on not the town actually yoik it litra around the pinion the niya honana hit elchene get the dotin hit alchene needed all late up a bizadigi na no ayo bitin dantla alchene a ko nan they oha altrahade the bizadigi do yahasano yahakala Belagana ajut a yalti do ajut a yeditsa a coach a babbage yajiltio a yobanantla aro a benina a belagana j najan tindo belagana j be not aba nahajil net nahalon it's time consuming Nzago ilke kwaya kashin zache hot ya nat jahan o ba na neshwilya do hajo benajan tinda ille la a ko hot big that di trando hot shbehouse and aro ko di specialty classes the gi hot hot archne hot ya nat jaho ayo do biljata kuiche kona hotya hanalo da kuiche bebjo ya just kego e flakot ko arok ad ya the queen na khida that's a immersion in that nothing hit on it ko kindergarten abjana shitya hanajaho the neck etched ya benantin do le no Good 90% a the neck at your dollar, ado 10% a belagana dollar. Should that no she? A hot ahahojij. A call other a call Arizona State, the public school national. Arizona State that a standard sichnenigi. The standard agency bixala alchuniaja da altragi. The immersion classes, yeah, I thought ada at the ahot anantin a standards up anan on the notin that no. A yo got none the neck etched the notin la ada beslagana etched beslagana bazad a nantin go. Hot a got a get a dot hin. A hot alba another honey see a call kindergarten hot hahoji aro first grade bahoji the new kindergarten shilya ekaigo ayo oyo nan classly ako shitsui Miss Charlie igda algebra national show ako hot ba yelti do ba na hoil na hoda aron da shingo hot curriculum lenigi beneil nisto khait asha na khato ni khaita alchinen lenigi di bezadi hoidol alti no ba alchine kha de kushinil ba yelti akoga standards hat lenigi yisi abisala ako yo nandla these standards ben not need tinigi the Arizona State those common core standards go abajan the neck attribute the not kinlo do nilta do you get the outcome of that standard is not going to be reached only in Navajo ako kwaagi batsisla nekaho aro o baya delti do plaho naso apelagana junda nitkin hanaho ji kadiji de dik adi khahibi dual language is no kwasil kid a pinnacle you see these the classes the basic there's reading math writing digi pinnacle nantin a pinnacle agi betlagonic nda notkin do nhedoni asna arabic nda the neck I dual language there's two language taught in that classroom the neck betlagonic ako kad hasil kido ako betlagonic gi pinnacle nantin gi standards benantin ako aliago alchine ayo hikediti do nas deskaido juno ehol hada haholji aro asna do betlagonic the neck hot no science do social studies hot bisala ako the neck nantin the bila tadi no aron da hot aliado the neck asna arabic the neck which yet do hot aliago unda ayo yat esali do alchiniajan lenigi do beltahui landa sali a coke at hot asal kid dual language ni percentage not hanatso a coke at do I see immersion draw immersion if lenigi immerse a Navajo language immersion program is an educational initiative designed to immerse students in the Navajo language, primarily teaching core subjects and cultural concepts in Navajo, aiming to revitalize the language by providing a learning environment where Navajo is the primary mode of communication, often with a gradual introduction of English as students progress through grades. So, the immersion, but a dual language called immersion is no, not immersion, no. Our outcome is Nahalchiniyajan Lenigi Nihizad ye Nihich Hatotzi Eba La Nanizin. A call many years back, Rafrajush Jabatan Nisho, Mr. Florian Johnson. A hot you see, yes, zone. hota biya don da ne tra ko hono immersion hitno yeah, this is what we want at the end. Hitno di harchini yajan lenigi bezad ape hitje not on ye hadotzi. That's what we want. That's what we call immersion. Hitno. So up to this day, naro halchina bansis case le aron da hobedishni le halchini yajdan lenigi shadal tragi aron da achat lenigi. Everybody knows this. A the nebazad yehodol ahano oltrat ya go a do don nilda. It's impossible. They come to school, they spend most of their day at school, but they're not listening and they're not being taught the Navajo language the whole time they're there. Just that, like for us, but sometimes that afternoon, something comes up and they're going that way and they're doing something else, and that's going to be in English. A call, how want the that a call at this time in life and this time in time this God hayat call the chine how want the at then the nebazar doidits at the aron da ya di national kid that hagi aron the phone ere that yoja do the neck attribute your last kid. So that's where the main problem is at. Yes, they are learning something from the TV, from the phones, all these other things at home, but the language is not there. Like it says, like it's always been said, the first teaching starts from home. And that's the language. So the neck at you dits though but my son do beche at hagi the bagan do taban sagi 8 but now you see older or elderlies, and some of them are speaking English to their grandkids. You would think that they should be speaking Navajo, but they're not. Ako agi silkit. Ako you see the neck atchiti ninde. It seems impossible. And we say it is possible. Yes, it is possible if we raise that child in Navajo. On this is not the neck but you just go. You get the dotin. A jashin do ye yaltkit dande. You deets do get the that's the start. Not all later on dotze. A call hot la. Aron da alchiniaja lenigi at isadan ben take case and lenigi to other. A call the neck at you. But you just neck at your deeds out. You get the dotin, a jashin, send on lenigi da yeast on dago. Haishi not kiddigi that neck at you da a hit the hot now. Yeast on, you get the dotin god around da a native all late. Doshin a con ye had dots da. It's going to be in their mind. They're going to grow up with it. Although later on, they will get to attempt to speak. Although ye yaltki dole. Ako chiniajik at chadal tragi hoda the neck at je beno beje yashki. Aron da lata sen lenigi ahon shehen da dit ao beda hoit khasla ko yo yedan etle aros na arch halje sho the neck at ya abel beda hausen a coha she general then being a on it on the house aro a shifted now that I get isn't a bit after your dad kitla a bit no a bit lagana get you hot that nila say still listen to the teacher I don't know after how to show they switch though I hope the schneed and that they know I guess in the afternoon we do Navajo I don't know isn't don't know how she yeah your dad kitla aro haida neck at the hot ziho a dojanira da no or any other thing they say some bad word and somebody says dojanira da no she as tiny as they are kindergarten first some of them are still learning and some of them they are learning from each other and it's best they learn from each other. The queer but they still won't get you. A call up and a yol get that eating. No, a yol car not just let a course like the neck at your first graders, the gee out the queer, not 6. Kindergarten, no, I have 10 kindergartners. So I usually put one first grader with each group of my kindergartners. First graders again. Last year they were in that, and also my class, so they know some of the Navajo that we're learning and that they know. The kindergarten done Lenny and Dane Tino. A conditioning yo at that DT. I don't that's on a dahos a hot a bahanson. I don't that there is really I cannot really say there is an easy way or there is only one way to teach immersion. There are many ways. Aron da e tishnit la e oiditsa o da e hot yehot la e nabet and tin every day di hot journey but no aron da la e from the computer or from the phone yis hot ayina hot Ihe at kinder and first grade level. Additionally, that's how they're learning. They're teaching each other. They're learning off each other. So that's something that we need to be aware of too as teachers and parents, because at home there might be nobody else that they talk to. They might just be in one place and all they're given is a tablet or the phone and say, go ahead, go to your room, go sit in your room. And then the parents are doing something, or the parents are never home, they're probably working, or they're being raised by aunt, uncle, or grandparents. So that's how some kids are. So it is really hard when they come into the classroom and they seek that attention. So you think of them as your own child. That's what they want to hear. Some of them probably lack that at home. They don't hear it. And then they tend to listen. They respect you. So that's how some students are, and some teachers. I know some of the teachers are like that. Even they're not teaching Navajo language or Navajo culture. They'll call students that, and that's you can see that kind of class, they listen to their teacher because they have that connection between them. That, like I said, that starts from home. So if they're taught like that at home, they're open at school, and they have that respect towards teachers or everybody else. So at the beginning of the school year, the neck at your door, you did that, do get it here. Yad I have been Virginia, I did that. I've been doing that from the beginning. Yad I have been I introduce myself, and they're just looking. Some of them don't even want to look at you because they don't know what you're saying. They don't know if you're speaking to them. And then you ask them a question, and there's no response because they don't understand you. And then you say it again, that you signal to them using gestures, your body movement, body language. You tell them using those hand gestures and signal. TPR from the beginning. TPR means total physical response. Physical response is us acting out something. So hako, but you know the hako. You motion to them, hako, hako, shawe, hako. And they'll come over to you, or nita, santa. Or you say, all these other, well, later on, they build up on that. They'll build up and they'll start using it, or they hear it, they know what you're saying without the motion. They don't understand you. They'll look at you because they know you're going to motion or you're going to show them with a physical response. You might show them and you say neko, that's on the floor. One thing that I usually tell them is bakadasta and show it. And then when we're ready to go, like to lunch or maybe restroom or recess, they get up, and some of them just take off and go straight to the line, and then some of them would say, bakadasta and show it. Or they, instead of saying bakadasta and show it, so they know, push in your chair, they go run back and they push in their chair and then they line up. So just simple words like that. Like we said, verb is our main language. So they don't care to say bakadasta. They already know what bakadasta is. So that's like using a lot of words. So instead of saying all that, they'll just say, and show it, and they know what you're saying, or they know what to do. So they go back and do that. And so that's how the language is called the nek etche. There's no right way or no correct way and no wrong way to teach the language. So it's just the way, I guess, we want them. We know our own kids. So at this time now, like half of the year is over, we know how our kids are learning. We know what we need to do with our kids to learn something. So as a teacher, we watch that from the first day they walk into our classroom. We learn with them. We're learning them, and they're learning from us. So by this time of the years, they're speaking. They're sharing each other, sharing Navajo words with each other. Or some of them go home and they might tell their family, talk to me in Navajo. I hear parents come back to school and they'll say, so when so-and-so comes back from school, we have to start talking Navajo because they want us to speak to them in Navajo. And I said, yeah, you need to. And they might not be the only child in the home. So other kids, their siblings are also learning from them. When parents come, maybe for parent conference, or you see them at the store or somewhere. So, bezaten lenigi nahuidol aron that the shiningit sin lenigi gese it's on the ehos ako the nebezad digi beat salahagi sin digi yo yinad linkla aron da hatalo da wanda da hono hatalo. We're learning this song from him, from her, parents. So that's where it shows that they're learning. They're able to speak it even at home, not just in front of you. That shows confidence that they are learning from you. What they're learning from you, they're very confident to speak it, like to other people or in front of somebody else, not just the teacher and the students, their peers. That yihi nilo aro wadada no should the neck adjust yaltkit no sadden linigi la yina hol aho a call that Chiniajan linigi. So I'm just mainly talking about kinder, first grade level, early childhood. So I had second, third grade level, but like I said, the years before, we had a K-1 teacher. That was my sister. She was the K-1 teacher. So she taught them the language from the beginning. And then when they came into my classroom, they were almost speaking, but they knew what I was saying. So it wasn't that much work at that time because I had second, third. And then when I went to Pinyon, then K-1, I had K-1. This is the first year I had K-1 mixed. Before was kinder. So for like 3-4 years, and I was okay with it. This year they added first grade. And I had to come back to my sister. I said, oh my gosh, I have K-1. How do I do that? How did you do it all these years? So I had to go back and ask her. I don't know. It's just like teaching, just the way you taught kindergarten. You just stick with that. They'll still understand you. But you need to go a little further for the first graders. But they should be teaching from each other also. And I thought, oh yeah, that's right. They're teaching from or learning from each other. So that was the main key, igisigi, when there's peers like K and first. They're learning from each other. Even I have a little kindergartner. He is really, he can read and write. And he's kindergartner. And some of these first graders still can't read simple words like maybe CBC words or sight words, or still can't write a sentence. And he is doing that. And those first graders are amazed by him. And they want to learn from him. And then other grade level, other classes, they will throw words at him, spell banana. And he'll spell banana just standing there. He won't even have to write it out. So that's what, that's how some of these students are. So he's in there learning Navajo. He can understand the Navajo language, and he's picking up a lot. The neck edge, he speaks a little faster. They're learning from each other, and they want to learn from each other. They're doing pretty great in that area. I don't by the time when you're doing the neck education, and then when I start speaking Navajo, even like in the middle of my morning lesson, they'll turn around and they want to listen to what I have to say, even though some of them still don't understand. And then afterwards, one of them might know what I said at their table, and he or she will tell the students there, this is what she said, this is what she wants. So, so mainly, that's the way I teach my classes, my immersion classes. Like I say, I can't be over there and say, okay, this is how you start first, this is what you say first, this is how you're going to do it. There's really no steps. Maybe the steps might be backwards for certain students. So either way, the only way is when you mean to teach from the heart, what you want for them, the outcome you want, it's in here as teachers. They will pick it up. They will learn it. They won't listen to you. And a lot of these kids nowadays that don't understand the language, when they hear Navajo, they think you're mad at them. Because I guess that's the only time they hear Navajo at home is when they're being yelled at, being scolded. So when you start talking Navajo, some of them just put their head down. They don't want to look at you. But later on, you tell them what you're saying or what the language is. Then they listen. So every time I try to, sometimes I don't have their attention, I'll say some in Navajo, and they all look up at you. So that's when you get their attention back. Like I said, it's taught differently by different people and at different levels. So the way I've been teaching, I know is really different from how my grandma used to teach her class. She had 2nd grade, and then she moved with 3rd grade. So she's a pretty good, very good immersion teacher. I wanted her to stay. She left. But now I found her here. So anyways, I don't really have, like I said, much to share with you, but just like what I had to speak about, what I had to say. And we're going to go into a little activity before the ending of what I talked about. So, Kwae Yas and Linigi, puppy song. Every kid learns this. Or some might be sung differently, but for us, that's what we always start with. And they would love that, and they learned that. Ako hotai we'll go into the puppy song first. Aro shache yaha aran ken yala. Aro shache shin kwashaka adolo hago che. My Che is going to be my puppy. So that's why He's a good resource person for me. I go to him whenever I need help with something, even not just through teaching, but so that is him. I should be here doubt those.
Bet ahni danollenigi shama sana ado kintlichi ni danollenigi tlasche the beh ile yana art and jo idashe is a sana edoda is a sanigi ado hashkan danollenigi tratnesan honera ni danollenigi shitshe shamasana tratshi ni قدي خيوت خد شيني خيوس اللي الكدان دي أنا السنة داي أنا كين ده خد شيني دو أدين داي كود يدنا خد شيني أكودي ينده قدي خيوت أزلي تخبى هذا هذا خيوس اللي أتخو ترانش إيش بيننا لدنا دو أشياء دنيك أشين خدا ألتخاجي أيو بهونت له أشين نازن تكينجو بسن تاجل كيدو بسن تاتزماستو زخيشي ناسو كيه خدتني next door ده بستحجت خالكو هذا انت اي كويدشي خوشتو نيد هذا انت دوش السيدة هذا انت الشن بستحجت خاكو شي ابا تشاجا تاتلات زازا يو ايتسا عندي حالي ويقو ياخديتسا next door jajin the then wall hisn delsen like get here no you what an del e o dan no sa ado dan nes go e o ado aba cha cha da la za jo e hichi nisko od ago ado da dit agi da hos ado hadan honet keta ye da dalde ako shishal tra da beda de notra ako خليت آدو لسان so ako nal sos be khana hodit contract da zis no da ishla ako di contract baka ya di howan di soston madon jabt di tra ako hiten snago hil ka dija ako baka ishla ya di en khatchen nek at sabe yat ki da hol sato be shka dotja amado je masando cheda no tlenigi ako ya howan jo howan no mazbi it alla azka ado sad alla do tsa alla beda jo ahada beda ya ako no masi bishoda de shid no yo chili bahanjil de chionjil kaza ha buddies do de yan ako hata ba de yabe oda benashni ako Shamashanende nek asiden hit yaltio ko yen antini kopelta itan kon hits eating can take case beaten whizly. So Belegani gets go the best time what that's not the best time to teach your loved ones is during breakfast time, lunchtime, dinner time. I don't lay hard that assault hot nek at sabe yatki quite hatchin with that yango. A yoba desne so that yoba desne kebe hahadris. شجاع ستسلة شنا شد جايدا داسارجي بخاد حلجس أكو هت آغو آدو أمادو زين نسنجي إيش كادو جا أكيد كادي جاب دسون contract هوان these students so هو ده يندا أنتكنو أكو ششغان هز أنجي هت آغو آدو إندا خشين بلغان كشاد زي سات خنيكيس أكو I know nobody wants to wash dishes right hat aga na yedan tra nasa haziltsi so by Christmas time my students say hayu the nek ashet yadeltki hayu achel tahwil na nasa I put that on my as a coach on a basketball court apeta no she kashan dan the nek ashe we're going to run our plays in the nek ashedan no Akon le da hois abelkan Davidson de na sin de kasil da dil was on de na shido koda hat abe bi yastkio belekan le shit edil quit code talking just no shit in this hidi class no sin she cast da shot khan da sin koda bi gasan de so das ako Ako ibe hast khatosen. Keshtetsen, Wayana, hey Nayo. Everybody knows that song. Wayana, hey Nayo. Shishele cha kijo wale. Asaje yanko bebid nation. Bejadana del go betse yedel trans. Setset then. We shikena los. I don't know, it's a repetition. Wayana, hey Nayo. Yo dan het lo chunye ye da hat khasko ako ya ako ya wayana hey ne yo wayana hey ne yo wayana hey ne yo shishele cha ki jo le ta sa je ya go bebet nation Dana telko, yedel trans. Hey ne yo, wayana, hey ne yo. Joko, ayo beta, ayo bohonet. Let's add us off to this. Biga, Shanale, yeah, it's good to see you. This young lady, she's doing a lot for New Mexico teachers and later. Ko Abison Dale Nishito. I don't let Navajo Nation, low council, you handle this. What's a big codo the neck at it no teeth, a hot argo, that is better than nos easy. So that ye go San Hinani do Kaha. I call other base master under than Lenny that is that. I can't number this hint. I don't know that she get at the government level. I call neck as that but out again later now by hope clear for car. Hadan so go a yard go ban no niece. Whatever they make right now, cut salary it is any base or that any let's match that. I call bohonet low that net that was my patents is go. It's our board president, Sloan, with the Navajo Nation. I call, do Dane Kade Yadasti Kodian Bahatan. Do Bajadan Lin that call Abza Bahade Yadasti. I think so that is Hula. I call Hot Argo, Bear just go baby, just go Naso, the Nana Hotas inside call. Even in the school entity, none of the large Nazanigi do yes, zone Yonantla. Yonant, condet, ahwe. Curriculum. No, I don't be had it. I don't, it's already here. AD Ben as in Yobohonetle. I don't the I don't know the house. I don't. Beben net but skepin, yeah. Beben sekis but skept all this. Ye ha old need all this, ye but zeal all this. Lego as go ye got all this bizarre, yast go. So what ago needs then. Kaden hatchin obseta hat den hadden. I call the new generation that's coming up. Oh, common sense hat den. I don't let up beyond so do costa I don't let up be do leash at den you see at den. I hot ago in this call at Shiniajan Lenigi. I call Rock Point School then I shande call Shikaya Shihanaja. Hot our baby just keep go. I call le coda shut now constant at coda cost the gredo cost the hissigi quite hiliago. It's a skin had the lia. I don't know, but Sagat Denny, the hissigi ebergan, the starter, but like as an argo balia. I don't know, codena hot suido in the Codeshada Asgo dot heal dogo a chest alia. Sagat Denny dot give it like as an argo balia. Digi nos quite give it a short. Digi han seed ba halia did. Harder the lay not lost, just twither lays not so the zindole. And Sagat Denny ben such a dot last ole ben Kaden be yank again not a bended la benachayad ole. Hashita artist, ne? Johot argo and they hot argo Asian has kin there you had ne. A cost Senigi had other deeds. There's only Sella Gesella Joko. That's what you guys have as teachers. A chini as it's a yo da no then go dan tcholigo. It's a as a da no then sata logo sa yo beta the lago. Ain't he like esla? Because they're so valuable, they're so precious. Belagonic at you go. So that dan Johnny yet, do you know Lenny? I call as a teacher, Kodo hit go ben Gerado hit in Argentine dole. A yobonetle, Nikish in Argentine go. I con the Bitsaniado, Cadido Shaltana. I do a lot of presentations, Lego, Hitchadid, no, Sendan, Habet Hashid, no. Hadisha, hot ashik, no, Senigi. Ado in the canal, no, Hojo, no, da. Sometimes I turn off my phone. Jane, Bena, Trena is Hajo de Nakis. Ado Benandish, and they are changed the whole net so that no, so I guess everybody was trying to, a lot of people were trying to find a medicine man. Yo, but the Hoyesli, at Hartley. I call yo ba niita go at never so the zindon, never had as in zindon, never had to tell. It's just like a teacher. I call sometimes you need breaks. I call Heda Hanas Halna, Heda Adla, and Junoya Halna, boy, the heavy gasket. I call you represent the rainbow, not ill, Hilek Esilla. Not ill, Hilek Esilla, Nigiba Hosia. I call D.A. Chicken, Linge a shada article, be ilni a article a bagandish, Nazat yet at the home. I call Saga and then beget it lago, Nahas go, Saga and then beget it land, no, not ill that I bet the they could now consider second, then give bagandish, as says then give like a hot argo, not ill in Hilek Esala. Digi Bepa Hosia. Shena day a day, 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 Naya Tsega Tentene, Zetala Teskene, Zetala Teskene, Joko. Danos, but there's no baby, yes, go. They were like, ni, is it? Oh. Ebenina epa halian sega dini pa halia. But it's not aben and skin go. All yella na pa hijili doles it's kejilo na pa hijili doles. But it's not aben and skin go. But Tanzania adosan bahadish aho. I don't da in lesson na de na did al yedo did and dark. But it's not a the back connoissance, the quiet day car con that as je, the quiet and not that I don't that as jeta. Johota baby in the hational go. What I go but in dashin so na kitchens lean, chic no sanigi, Nizoni, hot chinias baby hotel now. The any hit and he yin, the any hin he like es, la de ebn keben, he hold me. But there's no awesome, but not hardish. They sleep in the banat hardish. A bend and dish, now bend us so this and less on the end dark. And you know, did Abikin does that la. Digi quaggy besiches and das snaggy a cabin his hashnet. Nikido not edoless. Baltra not snaggy. I call Yaha do ye go that. I don't how nada. I don't how nada. And he need out a bigger. I call lay board president in that I assume the next harnish in Shohe, so nada the deals in saying later. Nachachenaba, nada ed cars. Send ban nada the deed ask. Quach oyas banadi kahe, Tradedin nadiji. Baal Tran, Lenigido, Tradedin ban nadiji. Send ban nada deed ask. The snego, nast nache, what ago. Satoben higan seat so. Kachetan do ya yaskeda do ya not in the shashin bahazo. Even at the school level, hananata and laying hada old had. I call hot ago in Jona. Be nas beds get bed zeal. Hot ago should be get ishki. She came of Senegi bed like Hegit I don't say the Hanils and do and dan heat sand. I think that heat in the I call Shahans Hago. Do Kodohot Hash, no, do I call hot echo. A Yohash Tras and the song and dance. Haila behest khalo. Ako jo tahani da zo. Ida beda hasunda. Kodo khat hode nyanda sin hat ko yo ija. Khas odlu ya go sin behad khatla. Astkile hono na hagana. Atan kodeshan tanda tskos yo ija no. Shall all what I have got in has khatla no. Next time we ben atlo ayahdi as with it no. What the doesn't but I'll go ahead and share a being with you guys. As a gift, as a battle no senigido. She had added a smart board is a classroom in that hollow. But because it's begin, don't sleep begin, though. Oh, that any give a cast in the lush. I don't let it, I let the net that it's other cover the she. It had hardly done as the speakers. It be it better did, I think it. Adam's better husband, Adam's better husband. Then it's a jet king says, I do yet a shall know yet a lone yard. I don't send it, I don't need this begin deeds. Yo, ban betrachtet hat ko adot den binta the yeast lede hot agoi nanskent na den dom nach baltra anslon ko yo shlat do yo bas khojon do chini yaja no salen lenigi bit yastke ko yo shlat kot ho shik no lenigi in the those of you that are going to record shared with your share with your students in the classroom. Go ahead and do the if you go to flea markets Friday, Saturday, they go the question CDs and then Mr. Big Gay, you're singing over here. Said it. No, your next message day last Saturday go. What is that? That is no. So I think we're on our 10th album. That's we're working on our 11th album. If you ever get a hold of one, I was talking to the students within the Chinle district, one of the schools. That indeed Mr. Big no, I bought one of those CDs no. I call Sentla Bohos no. I don't it's not bad but it's in the hey go sha no and yet. So wow. That's how smart our kids are. Skin so at the house I could, especially those little ones. Later, couldn't they middle school, though high school, I net done. I could go banana biga. I couldn't only high school and Janona isn't the house that's low. I could she ain't nothing again. I call that's a bed I had it, Hassanidi had the honor. Bena shaka lesson. I go she. Do your best heart and let listen. Die kodet eyas dane chonse neila. Za sade benat has da ata beslede tsatsa. Do that's not those that are on live. Do. I call in hatchen about that case your homestead. Who what the yo they not none here alone like Eslanigi. Hey, nay, day and day and go, bay and no shot. Hey, day and day and day and go, bay and no shot. Hey, gosh, say, and a sleigh go, day and go, bay and no shot. Hey, Kayos, cause the Ebet go, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayata, Kaya Betrakoana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayayote Kasaya Betrakoana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayat Kawatana Shenia Betrakoana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayat Hade Denia Betrakoana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayaga Sana Hayaga began was on the Shannesli Goana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayaya Seta Jehozo Goana, Dayango Bayanasha, Hayaya Shakas Dehozo Goana. Hey ya dayan hey dayan hey na dayan go bayan na sha hey ya dayan hey dayan hey na dayan go bayan na sha hey ya ga hasha wan shan shi go na dayan go bayan na sha hey ya na hatsa ya betra go na Hey ya ta so ya betra go na dayan go bayan sha hey ya net lezet kas ya betra go na dayan go bayan sha hey ya ko ya betra go na dayan go bayan sha hey ya ta de den ya betra go na dayan go bayan sha hey ya ta san Ga bega hozon shannesli goana dayan go bayan sha hey ya shakas hozon goana dayan go bayan sha hey ya shetse hozon goana dayan go bayan sha hey ya dayan hey dayan hey na dayan go bayan sha hey ya dayan hey dayan hey na dayan go bayan sha go lang na kade tkhol antla benasha benseya bedeya benishta benansta benaneta hasthago kenasja digi begin trago hastran da adolel Joko Beke nadi tsage dayan na dayan go bayan saya Joko Adol kedana an leje benaneta Ado bekede nan hastran sja nijone di yenigi tsa ado di nijone na nijon go bayan sha Joko na kits ata ni yindole shik ado chini yaja belbe da hajit khal ko za da uta go betan joni ye yitanet lindo ado inda ye channa hille ado inda njuno ohol dole ha shisno tsa tsadat yuben khil khodesh nehegi khollo yugo khiln tahdil ne ton da khidil khiligi khollongo za atshne do khapan hon da aten khayupa han digi big is trago to indeed no lenigi oli atshne ya sa atshne dan our kids are wild and the ga So there's this one school I was invited. Nadi kasta 100 students each freshman dan lo. Though that it's danda be ma in the beach no. As board members, as a director, as a principal, they were saying that. Good luck, she don't need so a big classroom. The halet ado listen so zilbahadil nishid no attendo that it's ada Okay, there's this young boy that was taking all the attention. He was controlling everybody. Then nobody was listening. Only 3 girls. Hey, there's no it's being Ada o isens kodachaho Yahuanil. Le so zilbani yago nstla. Ribid naam schodashin china. Desh kika ishke yajakana hot khasanila masturbation nila hwab. What you stop nila. I thought you guys didn't care about this. No, it sounds so soothing. Jina hashinta olya. Big ske kodaza. Big hui kodaza. Ot adaz khanjno hathanna e khashi yosseno daz njno yosseno daz olya. Big dot higit Jay hot ago. I don't have the snila. I want everybody to take a piece of paper and pencil or pen. However way you understand these songs, I want you guys to take notes. I want you guys to draw it out or take notes or shint be getting teen but there's no Adahana holds lace snatch in the swords, the logos, his bent at the slot of this lace old Gulagana Joyhatza. I don't day out of a tradition, she take notes of this. Ish key as a kind of hot tradition and she's gonna go natch. Man, the way he understood that song is on the Jgonagonage and Lage. Hodla Atidat Unilsos. Atidat Unia, a behind little less, a benzi, though less bedison. Okay, and then the other students to Ahadaza. Yeah, got in on their principal, though board members, yeah, Yahanaze. Whoa. Halahot in. What you do to my students, Shadani? I don't know. We're just learning, but the song. Other students, not sure each other Hakobadishno, those leaders. But how dare you talk about these students that way? Do Ajinida, hey, do Ajinida. From here on, I don't want you to talk about the students that way. But in the other is another hanahoji about 3 o'clock. The Tuba City desert on a haskinda at 10. Yeah, go ahead and the honest. She students, Mr. Vicky Hatchadi Jatano. Cobadini. I don't need she thought and not can be in date. See how powerful you guys are. The representation of those not illet bahashna. Is a then hinhas lan hatchin and linigi. A pin gon le old hat and hatchin at and not that yes, so that there's no shahout edole. Every school on the reservation, including our government up there. A pinnacle so that it's in the list on it, so that they need a bay his car eat jail. That's how it is. On sense, and then I just pray about it too. I just send be na hashtrasse. What ago Nahansen oder. So there's an Hadahil or sin Hadahil or the corner has Khanide follow me and ask them. Lay benaso the sin about and lay the Dahwis Ago, but the old not Abe Bedahne Kodo, Yada Kigi, Ado Adens and Nigi, but the do ye. Yen da and Kinigin Hatchen, but there's need or less. There's no not us in the best Trasse. Don't Hayo Schneta. Shik no Senigi Ashen. Ye go that. Ye go that. If you have questions, just holler. Ado shed that. Oh, Hayud na la in that Kidibigit. Thank you very much. She's not do Hawagos at now. I don't snitch out the Shindy. A pin do Yahada. ya shaha ado da na da hilsado kena da hidi ni do sendas do be be na Hashintanes Grint, Hashin et a Hossant, Ahlashen, Aye, Pira, A Pira, Hanedits, and the government, Hanedits, Ishint Achwek, the dotlil, Achwetas de Naad, Nchedota. Born Slana dan the that capitals anigin de bakha the dit an ledet others anigi bakha the anadna anikrego kojent an da khilna ebitsin stlin lotla ad yinal nesko Navajo's not Senigi Koda did different tribes to get Hashin Soba Ben Nahagada Hallo did that any that unless start other that little Adon the Basiana dot Ado Basinda dog Gisano. Nihina Behono Senish head or send you don't aden the Wilna Koja bassist Ogi Benasni told less. Nist laid at the capital, Cardis, and again he bassist Ogi added the Naz. She ba inch den hitch na zin do lesson hitch ya dash kit do lesson hitch ta hat khat do hitch shoda del zen do le the snow ba yashtki shikena sanigi da bring that up be not need all this bank it's do le thank you yeah
Yeah, Trey. Thank you so much. Aro yeah, ade is not sangi. Aron da yeah, shiro she's not sango koja hoji. Yeah.
Yeah, Shazade. Justina Jones with her wonderful presentation. If you don't know, she is a Blessing Way practitioner. She does those all-night ceremonies. So she's very modest in that way. We have our practitioners. Our traditional leaders and our practitioners, they're listening in and they're with us. We'll take a short break, about 5 minutes, and then I have some more names here. There are some door prize items here. You can come and grab them. And there's also blue corn flour in here, so you can pick on it. So Laverne Jones, Dylan, Juana Hendren, Sharon Henio Yazi, Brent Tolina, and Caroline Johnson. So come grab. And we still have lots of prizes, so I might need more names in here. I don't know who didn't put their name in here yet. So come pick your prizes. Caroline, Brent, Sharon, Juana, Dylan, and Laverne. And what I'd like you to do is get up, and I want you to put something with a marker or a pen on those sticky things. There's early years immersion, Chrissy, anything, and then technology and the Nebazad. What stuck out to you? Write those down. Maybe they're just singular words. Maybe you have something to say about it. Just add something to each chart. There's land-based language immersion that's coming up. Early years immersion, technology, the Nebazad. And this one was about grant funding. So those were some of the topics. So afterwards, we have Miss Leanne Totolina is going to be our next presenter. And she's presenting on oral communication in the Nebazad. Yeah. Yeah, there's calendars there and bookmarkers and plugins, pens. So make sure you get one of each, the participants that are here today, please, and thank you. Those are donations from Winifred Jumbo and her team out of Shiprock, DC, Diné College branch. And thank you so much to the research team, Naalka Behund team on 6th floor, and also Netsado Itahuila with the Mellon Foundation. So we got some awesome bling from them, and they wanted to help and share their things. So yeah.
I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna take this out and put mine on.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yours is on that side? Oh, testing, 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 testing. I'll sing a song while you're walking around and putting stuff on the charts. So once I'm done singing, then we'll get Leanne to start her presentation. Oh, the markers are over here. I'm so sorry. Oh, and there's some markers in here too. Google. There's some in there. Yeah. I'll sing a song that's called The Airplane Song by White Valley to support my Nolly, Tylee Tom out that way, who's an up-and-coming representative out of his community of White Valley, Pinyon area. He's running for office. So considering those new up-and-coming youth who are stepping into leadership positions, they're hopeful, they have the energy, they have the creativity. So this is a song that they usually sing. Adoshache, Benny put his information up here on the board for you, so you want to get up and take a picture of that. Hey, 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 hang on, hey, 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 young, oh, 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 hey, 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 young, oh, 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 hey, 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 young, when I young, when I young, oh, 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 hey, 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 young, when I young, when I young, oh ho 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 way. Hey 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 yang chidnat I got a nego ga chidnat I got a nego ga hadisha she Oceana Bethna Oda oh ho way. Hey, 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 young, hello, Shana, Ashke, hello, Shana, Ashke, Nissengo, they go Danish Inklana, oh, way, hey, 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 young, way, hey, hey, hey. Young way. Hey 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 young chidnat I got a nego ga chidnat I got a nego ga Adisha Shade Oceana Bethna Oda oh way. Hey 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 young hello Shana Ashke hello Shana Ashke Nisengo they go Danish Inklana oh way. Hey 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 young way. Hey 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 young way. Hey 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 young when I young when I young way. Hey 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 oh hey hey. So that was your entertainment for today. Okay. So if you haven't put your name in the door prize basket, it's right here. We want to make sure everybody comes away with a gift today. I just want to thank all the departments for helping out, the President's Office, Bo Lewis and her team, and then Facilities and Operations for their work. The ones who helped to make sure that this building was set up, and then marketing, Dylan's here helping us out. Thank you, Dylan. He had to drive out here at 5 o'clock this morning to make sure we're all set up. And then IT department with Hanson Dempsey. We have the kitchen crew and who accommodated us during brunch, which was a nice brunch. Thank you for that. And also Claude Sandoval in the operations and maintenance department. They had to make sure that we had somebody here who was taking care of us and looking after us in case we kind of maybe drip some coffee or there's hand sanitizers and other PPE supplies that he put out for us. So I want to thank the crew and the people who worked together today to make this possible. And then HR department, making sure that we have the insurance coverage. So there was a lot to consider. And the DC team and community came together and made this possible and made this happen in a good way. So for helping out. Okay, so I think Leanne is set up. Thank you for putting your writing. So the reason why also I put up these sticky note chart papers was also for feedback as well. So sticky notes are like if you have questions, you're wondering about something, maybe something wasn't, you wanted more information on something. Because part 2 of this event is going to happen in late March or April. So just keep tuned. And if I already have you registered, make sure that there's the on-site registration listing right there. Make sure your contact information, especially your emails there. So, yeah. All right, Leanne, you're on. She has about 3 minutes set up. Is there anybody that wants to just respond, reflect with us, say something? Something's on your mind, you're reminded of something, you have a great idea you just thought of, you're going to try something different in your teaching. So don't be afraid to share. This is that space. This is the time to speak up and say something. Okay, so we have one.
Sure whether to announce this. He helped us out with prayer at a school. Is it okay to say that? I just want to say a huge thank you to my Yaj, Mr. Begay. He's such an awesome person. Let me tell you, everyone has heard of Rough Rock Community School at the time that it's lost its accreditation. He was there with prayer and song. And I always say I give him full credit because being in that situation was very critical to get the accreditation, hard work, long hours. He did not even give up on us. We hidden fiesta, naso citizen, all night. Adonan, who does that? So there are some dedicated individuals, and I want since his presence, his song, everything, his walking curriculum, and not only that, he's there to always save us. I felt like I was overwhelmed. I come here. I'm trying to get out of this, maybe the traveling, I'm not sure, maybe it's old age. But he bursts out a joke, and then he starts singing, really soothing, Ninita, the young boy that he's, same here. But I want to say thank you. Thank you.
These use the shla? Okay. Yat Kwan hitch there what they say. Yat I am from Tejan, Shashpitho, south of the Neck College. Konle Tosi Yindon Le Gon Nast that since it ad ado you see Nasha Neck Achiyash Shiaho Shamasana Shachation Nale hot Ashiaho is Elsa Bayashtio. Shamadosh Inlay Heshinton Nadlisto Ultra Shamasan Betlahas Kandosh and Naleto Che. Sheolt khan linigi a anlech and lido ado chiniyaja hata iltra onle na kits ata aja atka iltra ado hojet niya hojet Navajo Community College ulia ida hojet niya do hodo AA degree shadet shetra AA hunide hathalto junon hija hatzigi e ko abelta iltra shiaj ado Killanago iltra NAU ado she bachelors do she masters ado iselpa ndado IC a iltra da anlech inlege distant learning del no ida ad atra iltra halal lehla our former president Peterson za our late President Peterson za person ka hayinelo teacher assistants da no linigi da idol tra no tada ato ultra ana ya hishata aton de sha ultra o ishanshin peso hollo ishanshin al sos hada de shlil that nashet iltion hot out iltra arch and league and they look at tel jo lana start on late wouldn't nash out leo jingo in national out leo who added plastic show hot ash she masters or she bachelors iselpa ado in legend national show tradin chnakai ado nanish iselpa adeho could inchnish shema della todlina well yeah equage English professor in law trat nachai ado nanish yospado ha shido Shako hat nitla harder the late he cake hati hadol ta ile hat nitla hot ebik aho baga hat elje shama she hot banses kes joko hat nitla eko adeko age the ne history do the ne language an hin hizado ni hed ka hanne hot Shanana shish onk ashla that's his tran the mo is lean ho age Miss Totalina edashijana Lee and Totalina Miss Totalina na shkalet na will ya danitle ado ashi dashija to het lini dashiche ado tilt aden akia ani dashinala the nest studies and language for School of the Nest Studies and Education quite shananish not the jet dot let lako a son and shlahun hitch dot let conversational Navajo in an elementary setting Toshin yo bahajid net that's a hodla. Sharat osh ketlat a hodla. The do eda win sheet do let oh argent shishnish do dit anchishnish to show a bad hitcher ishjan at dishli. A call I'll see a shish a presentation do don zayash hita. Yo hast in the quite never had this to hike a yo. By Janssen. Aquich the Nabazach Edo Bayathe. Nhalchina alt in the gun the Nabazadia Yathe. Yat the Donil Yahassen. A hehat to Yahassen. Oh, to Yahassen. Yadla. Classroom na I done it yardilla. Twa do shama she hakone hakoshi. Take at an nido hoda netazli. She yajo honestly kedo naga. She nitla. That least pension stroll oh did John nitla. She hatli. Oh she that's a no and a hola. Hakoshi, that's a no, she Alskon hizada kides kal nte shil akho shi ati ya yalti akonde. The dik at all is got da hossen at di jid. Oltka gunne ya dit abe danithin. The nebezad be yatke oltka gunne benat nilthin. Yat yinishye nishle bashishin dashiche dashinale o shama shija shama sana shiche shinale hawan shide hago ndaga tota shi oltka ba oltka Hli de be gashi lecha amuse Kade oyo nihizad a be bendani tinigi di anid ya daltigi di benanil tin ha ishi nihi curriculum shanala kahoja ya yaltigi ha ishi today kad belagana kachigo vocabulary na do hot vocabulary do hot nanetha do obe yat hit ebe nanetha di belagana kachigo curriculum de nia benachet na tinigi bitsado ono tinigi. The many schools on our Denebekeya teach Denebezado Be'ol Il. Some follow their district or school's curriculum, and some follow the curriculum from Dodi. All have similarities of what to teach, such as clan, Adon, and Nitlia. Ado Hawan, home, government. Ado Chiyan, food, clothing. Nal Tloshi, Ado transportation. Bej an atag nan set chill ado khego bahan na maijol tloshe bahan. They all differ from public BIE community schools. Ha ishi yen da antien ha shit on da antien public school ge shina antien ge ya Adon and Ajedlinigi ilsa Ado Hawan has age Hawana maze. Tsebi that's units. Tsebi it's a go on the nithin then lay hatol haton lay ultra in the agent lay major. Trahanda ilte don lay end of school. She 8 units hot nanchi. Belagana achigo spelling words in each lesson that they're teaching spelling words. Shado hot nanchi dan that sad 8 obeyat kwa honenigit jo obeyat here. Jot out boho hande anlede hamasan hamada betlingis khan tiyan dilni ede just anigi shana se be beje jot yat ne do hot be beje da bakada do let's da bakada obe yat it was natural. Belagana achigo spelling words way do yel. The mobis can spelling words. The sats in the ligi itasle. Ado lenda inisha eya ishanshi het abohin nidole. I'll say ato aja heldisha ado sentences. Definition no. Hot ayetahotla. Nihe do hot erad nabzad betahil aho. Nihe obeyat even na adishna conversational Navajo. O beya tieko. Hot she hot alchine hot shetli hanajaho. O bebche yashti. Do eya woltha do not zoigi do hot nansthin dande. Hawana maze bitahil aho hawana maze tsendatilin. Ado alchine des Ado bit nazneligi, ado het archada enigi, hot abenanstinde. Ado o yeda allet do sadai cotton day neloda, hot ananstinde. The yijihigi do natzogi edo benanstindande daga. A yonantla benajintinodi. Diacritical marks de linigi ayonantla. Ado would we yidol trahegi ilto ayonantla. A kode deni tiete kode la sani dos she ketla shikli hanaja. Dot at the yoblintantla. Yidol trahegi ado ka adol niligi at the yoblintantla. A koshe in ya kodan elchin ya inda ya haki kaho naben naben tindolel daga in obit yashti o bebish di olya hawana maze hashit au nash ha ish be olya tsin lej te kwa age je altilni vocabulary words the eight or do bakash ja the eight obe ya delti Shitli hanajaho, 8 be yadel tieho. In conversational Navajo. Hunanet nachet not tiendo, but ado or not tiligi. Ultra learn vocabulary words in the Nebazad in repetition. Vocabulary words were integrated with the unit learned in the specific grade level, but not necessarily like the students learning the spelling words in the home room. Jay Altishan. Nhed hot bedahul ata. Nhed abeya del tio. Nishle bashishin dashache dashanale. Shama shaja. Shama sana shache shanale. Dek ade hot anda nithin. Shanala hasthi, Shanala asa, that did no. Hot anda nithin. Shay dog up edition. O Shanala. Of course, we catch all. Shanala hasthi. Jano, we catch all what though. O Shanala. O yo belagana achigo. Ajin nikre. Grandfather. Grandmother. Eya. O Shanala go. Hot abijana son and leaned has teen leaned oceanale. Hot conversation conversational Navajo obeyat hio hot yedahol ho. Dinash agi quage la that so tahigi the neck at you go hajasha. The neck at you go be special question at the Nash agi. The bag age. Ahna da di descriptive. That's the level we want our kids to go. Immersion, dual, bilingual. Haish bin na dual bilaganak etchel Haish il that here. The Nebuzajo il there. Ado inda. Bilagana donde tlahoda tseto nilk at the proclamation sign elia niki. Reverse that tseto nil. John de Heishbik aho heish ano. State che he da na hastka. Ebedina to aneta. Immersion. AI si she ajigo. Shillinjana immersion. Quishi % Navajo ilse. Ebena antino ilse. Ado hojigo ilse. Isigo huna la o. Lagana. She ajo shitliat bilingual. Jay Arthur bayalt here. O coats which in an anat. Ya o. Alta wait. Qua get of nanat bilingual. Oh. I could yonantla o yo hey on here. Ani hibbe has ani hibbe be yadelt be edel yago dik a proclamation would hegi she winsen the heishel say ye dozil the nekal shat wala heishi hoje shiyaj yiche da shitsuish entla shiyaj beni shnale hidat kushi Jay hota ya yalt hit do lel hota ya yan hit hotol neko Jay beka da sinils beka job ade nidzen. In the 1970s, kids were still very fluent in the Nebazad at home and at school. The net culture classes didn't really have a curriculum ita. So Baal taught the class as though the students were at home at that time. Shiship benashni in the ha'il tcha'o. Culture goda de je'o. Do hot baka atana di do hot asinilda. Ayahi jahan lejet netje. Dahui tchal. Ado woltchaigi la ina ki tradi ado nashchaigi la bahljen litsahlaga ilse adi inda ha illa da di nihla hatni ho hashtlishta yahi khata ado hashtlishbende na ha wanda adelne jo wanda shay host ina ha wanda le chajunje lesh nakhan na haja nakhan na hakiha la ayaj da de bayaj ba adel o ibende na 8 out na antinna ita oha iltra. I'm wondering if we should go back that way of teaching. But do nila State Department there integrate a 8 ebayat here. Hashit adon nila ko. Align to the state standard. Hashit adonit lako. Adanek achigon natin tinago. Shehut ashit njona de adonitla. The nek achina antin lakot ekat. And these are the two I used. Duolingo. Ado Navajo grammar. Edo change in there. After learning the Navajo words, I would have the students create questions or sentences and go about the school asking questions or reciting introductions to teachers and staff in the Nebazad. The kuishi the mo alle yeda hol ahodi amasan and linigi ya yaltio. Edo dai hojeti Duolingo. Edo Sadia the Hol Aho. Adot Shanshin Lord Haredi Jati but the Hol Agi, Benda Idol Kidod Lesno. I don't lay Nana Sapa Adan Lindo Aqua and Dad Nishigin the Hasho Hagida Chayande Inigida Ebich Islante Jaho. Yat Eshe Ado a dead Holzi. Edo day Yat Eshe Quinchia Ado Ishich Datilne. Dish eat Yisni. Ado Adan go ge double zinda. Die ultra na bedel kidigi. Dish eat Hilnila. Saibel bed a hosen. Be a bejet Oh, Adonana Nadija. A hot ab ya yed the house aho. A hot sadden linigi be yatio. Pictured of a cow, clean Adonana the be Nabacao. Show you what Ado Shitlia and Shitlia Ashwanda. Hajoya yatio. Practice it on in the school. She hut answer. I la ultra agido a yada ultra agi ko andad lishigi yel yada tio yada tio. Hot out a bonetle. How she done that little. She don't miss totally na shanana no. Adenne. Hot out a netle. Na el kidebik echo, I thought the neck etcher. There are many time constraints. Ardennell language and culture. Again, I'm sure it differs in all schools on the Nebuchadnezzar. Some have 3 to 4 week rotation with a limited time to teach, maybe 30 to 45 minutes time frame to teach the Nebuchadnezzar. Not even enough time. Maybe that is why some say the net teaching should start at home. Why would ya eat ja? Athatin the haljinja. Why ya eat ja to ado? Ashlat the haljinja that's a Hela Helania. Dabajo. Betty, kun seta, edit all kun, dano. A quite get though. Edit that she kun seta. Kun, danila. Hakoshi. Other quid that na el dahnan at 25 minutes and nania. Quite that. The Asian national teen let ski lo banaj banaj dot. Other quite bananish idol lil. I don't not a dodge and Lego. Ado rotation halong. Di kwa need quickly hija. Quinzacha o the house lay na kitar the more than not asleep until Yahana dodge. Hit alboho aho. Shay with aho. Should not china down with a rotation. Hola hoja BIE grant government. JIC the neck ahona entiendo the neck aji ati boho ahia ajigi a peso pasnel a peso aja pasla. Hola eshe hit dina al kidigi hit de. Jado onadet na immersion. 80% the nebazad bayati. Bilingual. Elsa apeno di bayadalti ado edi bayadalti. Dual ye ado bilingual asla. Hashit esha shanaho. Kunne la that's ashon. Yetahol asla. Shish not china da ashlad nezna tindo ba adat shitli hanaja. In the hata iltragi don lay hastran da yoltragi. Chiliana jaho. Tskilo nanchkin. Kodobigata. Ebenina. Aha wanto. Jo again. A manandlinigi. A janandlinigi. Do bilagan o do nek etchianan alki da bilagan nek etchianan alki. A masana anale a in sahegi ashi han sashi nek etchiana yana hasano aya yalki. Jehut aya. Aha wado. She I'm at fault at it. Shizing. Tadin over ash nahe. Nebazad nantin, the nebe all in nanchino. Chalchin bilagana getchayadalki. In the Tahatkalo Yeda Hassan. Aj able the Nebazad Yeda Hassan. Sahot eho. Kojisin not Dahat the Kojabe had out the Hige Billindantla. A masana sata, a chase sata, another sata, a hot at Ebenahato al. Do an he Bayadel Tio, Benahudo al. How wonder Bayadel Tio. Ado, a mother hot Jacodoshi Yajani contract. Onal sauce did out Nalchin hot Yadahol. I'll thought how wonder hot abe, babbage Yadalt here. Dabit no she thought. Anne here, we have to advocate for that. Anne here Kodobe. There is Jan a day nails in the shin to yat. Though I don't hear Kododa, I don't lay teachers' lounge. I should be lagana at your house. I should that the day here. I don't lay recess the dot nan. Anne here not date. We don't practice what we preach. We should. The Nebazad, there's no separation of teaching language and culture. It is just a way of life. The nek eko otal doben beyathe. Culture is all you're doing in your everyday life. It doesn't involve religion. Although in some instances it does. The Nebazad is spoken in general in our daily life. Kuijin be yadelti. Kuijin. Yat adok ebego. Yat shemasan yat shiyash. Yahiyan leda. Oh, yahiya goshanella hunsita. Ajabania yat eshanella. Hey, Justina, edo ado dinida. Yahiya do yat eshanella bedini. Adon loya, lady ta atta. Quailse, na hulia, ta osahat o nido adon loya, na eche hat no. Ado huyania. Not I dance squash it on. So that it dance, so the yash it on. I don't national and lady said that. I don't begin the glass of bananas. A hot has your bed up in Tino. Shishliat eh. Shay Winson. Obe yat here. Oh, baby, yadale here. Shay would answer. Like the Nado San is a naja. Quite get quite an inch sad. Hot ababik in Ninel. Quite nash, I don't want a bijou. Jehda yitli. Bijou each headel, yeah. Quite get big is big nash, I be picture. A diggy nintle on. They could diggy big is an elgi, I don't nintle in the go. A co under. Oh, could the 8 house ni the cow. tau da no. Tau. Ajot ko jita ho tati na stragi nan tlau anda. Oh, tras ni. Ebik altishna obeyat hio. Ot ashe ishli at ensen. Nishe heidan nasen hola. The shehut obeyat hio conversational Navajo. A pina konsti na ya. A pina konsti na. Ah, tla biga hai jilwash. A pina konsti na. What is the first thing you do? Pina konsti na ho. What's the first thing you do? Kadeo shnala. Tsidalse. Chejit zito. Hashit I. Ha ishi baltis the kos. Tsidalse. Nshti naho. That's the first thing you do to the alta. Hansa kes. Ado sha'a. Nshti na du partistas keza. Ado ajili o. Ado ajili. Shnit hadis kishwat de shnil. Ehut al ken jinel. Ado sha'a. Ado inachat ihya. Ha ishi bansiz kesa. Ejil inta ado. Be ha inna. Ha inachat kodon leje. Chiyana jili. Tloj jiga ha de behalon. Don leilin ado vikijinda chichinil la shiyaj na halo. Chichinel. Sleepanda jiljol. Chidijidil. Ha inna wilta hodiljish. Adisha. A kedisha ha id. Hawadina jita hodi ad Ani jinizi. Diat ash inigi shaina at ani your belief. Jade aya your belief. Di ba baka si hodin zin. Ebin na bino alta njdit na to says the cross. The inda. But is the cross at jil e da al keten jinel. Ado ho inna chat e. Ado di at jil e ha. Ani ishla ani dish di at persistence and jehot aya. Do the bansi de kes onda di na to ani o form belinda lilu. Shashi heide. Tada waslipe a 8 aya da nidzi oh. Did. Koden nash Sata do ida. Nia ada visual live that is not sagi nia. Jota da hut out you'll watch. Oh. Jo hut out a hat do but Hansen. Deutschland na und kidda. Der elsa quaige die ilchniya belindash in the nosal in the hada altrahigi do le traje da yaltrahigi die belindash in the Ayo yita natlan shiyaja ninigit shiyaja yaltki igit sin to tahajut khasho. Yo yita natlan.
I was invited by Paramount to design a collection in partnership with the area that was inspired. Eight alchini yaja belendash iho yobe yidanet leho. Adod amatlashitya iya shiyaj brave in yetlan diliet. Ha ish idod lil no. Adon dashki yaja shaylua. It's totally na. I want to do that when the song, remember the one with the song, Shitlila. Goshin bedini ya bandli hish bedishno. Oh no. Ado eight CD bik isanella ebana na kis kan kha yeshli hanana lodne tahne yospala yisel pano juno ishlana ashidna hida khadno junia o je ebe buhint hunna achi ebe be ent erol bedini det loshdo ashiyajan nigi ako eye yedahol aho adon lehan wadan nada khaho yeah, that on she does she joy yedahol aho and the yedahol aho ha she. My daughter was singing something at the parent teacher conference. Arababel hashna aho. Ayo yedanat la aho. Ahot aho yaha.
Hehe shamayaj she she passion chinigi big edo shamado she yashin oh she deadly auntie Dani Leslata. You're my deadly auntie. I have another deadly auntie coming up next. I'd like to give her the floor because she's here now. However, let's see. What time? What time? Okay. Shisha presentation again. I think I'm going to leave it for part 2 because it's a whole thing in itself. I have so much to share and have you do, and I'd like to see more people, some of the same people come back. And by that time, would be nice for part 2 to hear what you've done in those short few weeks. What did you do? What did you take back from here that you use, that you actually created a practical strategy for and infused into your own practice? So, there are some more prizes here. There's enough for everybody that's left in here. So I'll just name you out and come grab. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 gate. So Alfreda, come grab one of these prizes up here. And then Geneva, Vicente, in that order. Andrea, Charlie, Ado, Nate Brown, come up. Yay! These door prizes are created so that we know who's here. Wow. Margie Begay, come on down, Hanita. Justina Jones. Desiree Denny. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Chrissy. It's nice writing, but I can't read it. Chrissy Snow. Okay, that's right. Now I remember in registration. Okay, that's okay. And the yellow t-shirts are actually cross-country team t-shirts. I love the words on the back. It says, I am a warrior. And Lena Lowry. And Lavina Pahi. Oh, there's church Nanda Distos when I go, yeah. And who is this one that's really folded up? Is Cassandra Charlie. So that takes care of everyone. Yeah, you can mix and match. Are you the last one? Yeah. Just put them together. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome, Shaji. Oh. Yeah. Again, thank you to our sponsors, the Language Teacher Institute, and also to our many departments here at the NEC College. I brought this sheep rug. As the Nahala of the NEC College students The president of that is Damon Jones Jr., and he donated a whole sheep to butcher over there. And they butchered the sheep themselves, and they cooked. Their parents came, and then they just invited everybody, come over for lunch. And then we ran over there and had tortillas and ribs, and it was a good day. And speaking of reciprocity, they did that because they realized there's so much that they're going to do here at the school where they're going to need the help of everyone. John go Thursday, and we had the teepee set up in the morning, and I brought breakfast over there, and we had people helping out, and marketing team was there, with what is that thing called that goes, what is it? Yes, the drone. I always can't name it. The ta'etoi. We'll give it that name. Ta'etoi. It was. So they've got some really awesome shots. Watching the TP go up. The students get up. I'm so proud of our students like that. The ones who are in student leadership. We have 4 or 5 student organizations. And some of them like Artisan Club, and then there's the Associated Student Organization led by Jalen Small Canyon. And she was one of the ones who traveled to DC a week and a half ago, I think it was. So we have our student leadership representing the college. And, speaking of responsibility, that is kind of what is happening here is, we are really helping our students to realize that there is a lot of responsibility in their hands. And it's not just about finding independence here, being able to do your own laundry, get yourself up in the morning, go to school, do your homework, go find help if you need help, go to your advisor to check on your degree checklists. Talk to your professor about, if you need an extension on an assignment, or maybe you were absent, talk to your professor. Being able to communicate with your professor, that needs to happen. And so, it's very unique and distinct here at our university, at our college. And there's no other college that I know of, maybe 2 other TCUs, where you can sit in ceremony with your students and enjoy those songs and those prayers together, side by side, pray side by side, sing side by side. Take those, offerings, give those offerings side by side. And if you haven't seen one of our commencement exercises, please come on down and come see our graduation ceremony. One of a kind. We put our Dana values first. I brought mine. This is Dechoneshkish. Be it the fire pokers in here. Akodi abelnash ashto. Dodot ahawan ehonet dasalta. Akod eben nantin lenigi. Jo aided bake it olia qua. Adon da bezet lenigi sto kon hahullo. Aron da yaha edition should see the additional Mr. Wilson Aroniel Jr. should see the additional I always want, why does he keep coming back? Retire and let the and they added late Naharana and Kitliayan de Abenon Kitlahalna, and he said, She kelleja ba nanshwat ba nahashied, he said. A konle tahandilye nlini ize nlinigi hatilnehde when it was being put together. He was the only person that came to that ceremony wearing moccasins. They took the slage from his footprint. They put it into that bundle. And that's what he said. He said, and that says something. That says something. If it's your shadow, your footprint, you notice your shadow, you notice your footprint. It never leaves you, you're always with it. I wanted to mention that. We always wonder why he's having a hard time leaving this college, is because a piece of him is here. And so was a so I'm reminded of the hard work, and they are watching us. They are watching us and what we do within this institution as a very distinct tribal college and university. A TCU, and we have several TCUs. This was the first of its kind of all TCUs, and there's a lot of work to do within the TCUs as well, in terms of advocating for the students and what they have to offer. So the main thing that I was going to talk about was land-based language immersion. And land-based language immersion is very simple. And the way that it was born into me as an understanding was through the work that my in-laws are doing up north from Onion Lake. This is a jersey that they came up with in memoriam of my father-in-law, and his initials are on the sleeve here, Bruce Whitstone. This is their Treaty 6 flag that's on the sleeve, and Black Lodge is the host drum, and the Atayila, after maybe I don't know how many decades, he was director of the powwow, and he was always in the background. He was constantly running around and sacrificed so much time and effort to host that powwow every year, which happens always the third week in July. And it's a ka'aye date. And I watched my father-in-law too, just what he does, and everything that he did. He always put this first, every powwow that he had in Jonago. It's like it ran itself. That's how it works. When you shift towards making things work for you through your language and your belief system, through this, there is almost no effort to it. So we have a lot of work to do to carry those teachings to our children. We have to try our darndest to bring it back and prioritize it within our schools. And land-based language immersion is something that I learned while I was with my in-laws up there in Onion Lake in Saskatchewan, Onion Lake, Saskatchewan. And while I was there, I decided to do my own healing journey And, you know, I just wanted to learn how to tan hides. Hide work healing became a thing. And I noticed, you know, every time my kids came out to help, it was almost immediate that I wanted to speak my language instead. That's the land-based language immersion. That when you're outside, you speak your language almost automatically. I mean, it makes sense. It belongs, this language belongs to the holy people. And the holy people, the way we understand is everything that is out of our control. We can't touch. It's things we can't touch that are sacred. They function by themselves. They don't need humans. That's what's sacred. Those are the holy people. So nature is like that. Nature doesn't need humans. As a matter of fact, nature would do better without humans. But we're here. And we need to remember to teach through land-based approaches where we actually eat the foods from the earth, grown by the earth, nourished by the earth, and learn how to prepare it, learn how to, you know, use the hide, learn how to use the different parts. And the hide work healing process taught me that land-based language immersion is real. That, you know, every time my kids came outside or we cooked around the fireplace, my language wanted to come out naturally. But what about those parents that don't have the language in them, right? How do we help them? Their attitudes shift and change towards valuing the language again and embracing it again and making it a part of their home again. We are hoping that that becomes a reality. There is so much, and then the methods itself in terms of land-based language immersion is teaching the basic contextual language. Like, for example, you're going to have the students build a fire. We would first talk about, okay, what are the verbs and the nouns in that space? Adonda achanidja, achanizid. Like, what are we doing in that context? So we would look at real life language, which is a 6-line dialogue by Jenny DeGroat, who's a veteran Diné language teacher at UNM. And her method is a 6-line dialogue. It just goes A, B, A, B, A, B. And then real language, real contextual language. So in that space, in that land-based space, what are the things we need to know? What are they called? Adonda be hit the dolni legido quahed ishi. The students begin to realize that there's contextual language and it's specific to that context. The verbs are specific to that context. And those verbs sometimes are transferable to another context, like handling verbs, shanaja, shanani, shanaka, shanatsos. So those are some of the dialogue-based activities that you can use as strategies. You know, we have students working together to create their own dialogues, and the use of the mentor-apprentice model, which is very important. And the mentor-apprentice model, the immersion model, the dialogue, contextual language, the land-based approach, the appreciative inquiry, those are all huge pieces. Decolonization, those are all huge pieces of the land-based approach. And they all are grounded in indigenous belief systems, ways of being and coming to know, as the ontology and the epistemology. So the ontology are I always try to make it a comprehensive model. So the ontological pieces are the pieces that are, the way things are. Those are our ontological, they provide an ontological paradigm. Ado, the four directional teachings. Ado, in the developmental teachings. And then in that is process conceptualization. Jo e big echo e hweg e di ti do hwe e de ti. Jo e beat a bi han ha hin no se. That's the epistemology. It's the how part. Ako e ya bi ye e ya ko e. Asando de nena halojo e ilchen se ke a hinzeno ilchen se ke do hilnalnish do e betrai e nasala I nabi do kot a e bi do ha yo chil do be nas o chil jo e bini na e we have that metal sculpture in front of the library, that beautiful cornstalk jo e kwa ishin o liek et delia jo e squito sana yenda an kinigi et delia to make a nest. And what that means, even, planting a ha'ishin saha case, ado ha'ishin olya yisi sad wolya hegi, ako shanala Avery yahal now, sad nego. He was talking about it because the literal translation, what is sad? Words, language, a word, right? But bijiko yahal net go naket na hanet ya yinachit yahal now. He was talking about our oral history. Nedleid ilkeda sad has lead. He's talking about the dawn of reason, of knowing, of consciousness, of understanding that we have a right to decide what needs to be done in order to create a good life. Nsaha case nahat ai nasi hasan lo ade khahila hagi jo eshida za ahilnenle na ta benache anot hiligi ako ein le de altsasad hatnigo jo eshi awareness, consciousness, conceptualization benache ahwin zanigi benache ado lebe bigit do hiligi benache ina adol niligi benache kwaege na antien benasi liel do lelegi jo e a altroshi e shi hot a e sad ahilnila. It's a very complex word, even though it literally just means word. So that's something to think about the depth of how sacred we hold our language. Ako edeya. There's a lot today, so thank you, Anoltso. Again, Ado, we're down to our final presenter, which is my auntie, Lydia Fasthorse, and Ashi Ben Ado, because we have respect for our elders and our veteran teachers here, she respectfully requested that she not be recorded. So in a way, it's also a way of giving back to the people who kind of made that extra effort to be here. So it's kind of like, it works out, and that's that sense of reciprocity. And I'm just asking for those who are on virtual spaces to please understand, be understanding. And I hope we see you, for part 2. And I'm hoping that some of these presenters come back and, I see yet to go. And if you know somebody who can speak at the next event, please, suggest their name and let me know. So at this point, we're going to stop the live streaming. And Dylan needs to rest. He's been at this since 5 o'clock this morning. Thank you. Give him a hand, Dylan. Thank you. Yeah, so so that's where we're going to stop. And then we'll give my auntie the floor. Ashin kot ahadole.